Many promising reconciliations have broken down because while both parties came prepared to forgive, neither party came prepared to be forgiven. In fact, offering forgiveness can just further justify our own notion of our own superiority and moral goodness. I'm going to forgive you because I'm really better than you, right? That Charles Williams wrote a book called The Forgiveness of Sins. And in this book, he had this really, what I believe to be profound insight. He said, many promising reconciliations have broken down because while both parties came prepared to forgive, neither party came prepared to be forgiven. I'll read it again because I think it really is powerful. Many promising reconciliations have broken down because while both parties came prepared to forgive, neither party came prepared to be forgiven. That speaks deeply into the reality of the human heart. What a profound observation, and one that I've found to be true of my own life, and I know of others that I've been counseled and ministered to. So why is it so profound? Because it speaks directly to the idea of godly goodness in us. To forgive someone is really something that's within your own power, right? We can choose to forgive. In fact, offering forgiveness can just further justify our own notion of our own superiority and moral goodness. I'm going to forgive you because I'm really better than you, right? That's the attitude a lot of times, that most often than not that we come to the table with forgiveness. I'm far more virtuous than you are. But to come to the table of reconciliation ready to be forgiven, that means that we must come with true humility and a sense of self-sacrifice to the table. It means that we are able to recognize that we are not morally superior in any way and always have our own sin to own in any relationship that we have. And to accept forgiveness means to be humiliated. It means to be humiliated, but in a godly way, not in a shameful way, in a good and right godly way of goodness. C.S. Lewis talked about, and I always get this quote wrong because it's like a tongue twister, but about humility. He says, humility is not thinking less of yourself, but it's of thinking about yourself less. I think I got it right. If you add the word often to the end, it helps. But that's what humility is about. And coming to a true idea of goodness, when it's displayed in the fruit of the Spirit, it's coming with humility and self-sacrifice into relationships with others that can say, hey, I can own it. I can own what I've done wrong. I'm not perfect. That's how we reflect the goodness of Jesus to others, not flaunting our own false notions of our own goodness, but rather humbling ourselves in self-sacrifice for others, admitting that no one is good except God alone. The sinful nature in us, the fleshy nature that Paul contrasts with the fruit of the Spirit, is all about the opposite. It's about saying that we're good in our own and we can make our own decisions. Godly goodness, as defined by Jesus, doesn't come naturally to us. Pride and selfishness do. That's what's outlined in the fruit of the flesh, or the works of the flesh, of Galatians 5:19-21. That's why it's the fruit of the Spirit's work in our lives. When we trust and we root our lives in the goodness of God for us and His Son, Jesus Christ. When we plant our lives in His goodness towards us, and we're soaking up that nutrients, that living water into our lives, the Spirit grows in us more and more humility and self-sacrifice for other people. And these are the good works that we're called to. These are the good works. Ephesians 2:10, for we are His workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works. And 2 Timothy 3:17, that man of God may be complete, equipped for every good work.